Welcome to Yelling Into the Void, a podcast discussing and exploring topics in World of Warcraft. I'm Tevin, I'm joined as always by Scott.
Hello.
And it's been a while. It's been like a month, Scott. So we've got, I would say we have a lot to catch up on.
Nope.
But we don't. We don't have a lot to catch up on.
We sure don't.
That being said, something major is happening for us tomorrow, but has already happened for you guys when this comes out. So that is the pre-patch is releasing. Also, Legion Remix ended today or yesterday, whatever. That's not able to be played anymore because that ended right as pre-patch was supposed to be happening, as did Mop Remix. So that is kind of the news. I'm not actually going to have us do a news section because the news we're going to go over that's new for us is not going to be new for you guys when you're listening to this. So
because we have
pre-patch is here. Get out there and play it.
I will say, I think it's weird the number of people that have been like, man, I can't wait for the pre-patch to be here. And I'm not just talking about like in general. I'm talking about our friends, but like, oh, I just want the pre-patch to be here. I just want the pre-patch to be here. And I've just been like quietly like saying to myself, why? I mean, look, I'm excited for Midnight. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit today. I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. It's a new expansion. It's always fun, new season, yada, yada, yada. But like, I don't know. I'm not like excited for pre-patch. I mean, I guess if I didn't have beta access, maybe I'd be excited for pre-patch. Could be like the first time I get to try the new talents, but it's not. The first time I get to see what the UI looks like, but it's not, because I have beta access. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Everyone's asking me if I'm going to like play in the pre-patch, and I'm like, no, probably not.
Yeah, I am excited for pre-patch, but only because I still haven't decided what the fuck I'm playing yet. So I still need to mess around with that. But I don't know. I think there's a lot going on with the pre-patch that has me more nervous than excited, if I'm being honest. Like I am excited for pre-patch. I am excited for Midnight. I am excited for the changes that they've done. I'm terrified for what I'm going to have to do to my UI starting tomorrow.
I think this is probably the most important thing to talk about, because I think the last time you and I got together and talked about UI stuff, we were living in kind of a different world than we're living in right now. Because basically, I mean, and interestingly, like nothing has fundamentally changed like in the beta, except that like add-on like developers have gotten more time to find ways around more things, and nothing has been changed to stop any of that, to the point where, you know, like I think the last time you and I talked on microphone, we talk outside of this podcast, I promise. Basically I had said I'm going to go into Midnight really just trying to use the base UI, and that's my plan. I'm not going to like do anything else. I'm not going to really get any other add-ons. I'm just going to go base UI and then build up stuff I need. Since then, I would say, based on the add-ons that are available today that work in the beta, that will work tomorrow when the pre-patch comes out, I would say conservatively, you can do about 97% of the things you can currently do on retail in your add-ons in Midnight. Now, the way to do that is different, right? Like instead of having 1 week or a pack to do all these things, you'll need like 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 different add-ons to do these things. But the only thing that I think you definitely will not be able to do in Midnight is like mid-combat automatic assignment of like, let's see, we need like a Mythic Dimensions is a good example of this, where they can like automatically assign you 4 go stand here, you 4 go stand here, you 4 go stand here. Like it won't be able, nothing in the game will be able to do that anymore, but pretty much everything else you'll be able to do with add-ons in the game. And that is a very different place than we were, I think, in the beginning of December, when we were like looking at beta and looking at the state of this and being like, oh, and it's Tevin, it's a weird place to be. It's a weird place to be, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I think my biggest concern isn't the fact that I don't think I'll be able to get my UI in the state that it currently is. My biggest concern is I am going to have to get my UI into that state instead of having somebody already have done that for me, at least currently. Like, I use Atrocity's UI. He's planning to update it, but he is not doing it for tomorrow. Though there are people out there who already have done updates. Like, Lucthos is a good example. You and one of our other friends were talking about this. Like, he is so on top of everything. Every time a pre-patch comes out, every time a beta comes out, he has weak auras. And so he's doing that same profile kind of thing for the cooldown manager that he did for his weak auras. And I am not shocked that he's doing it, because it seems to be something he enjoys to do.
Yeah.
But he is one of very few people that I see already having something, like saying he will have something ready for pre-patch tomorrow.
Well, I think it's only a matter of time, because I think what originally we thought was perhaps the death of being able to sell your UI for money is actually going to become perhaps even a bigger business than we thought. Because like I said, like before, 1 week or a pack gets you 90% of the way there, and you need some other stuff. But now that's not the way it works anymore. Now you need several different add-ons that do several different things. And so the idea of having one person or service that packages all those add-ons together, so all the add-ons and all the profiles for the add-ons, and packages all that together nice and neat for you, has become so much more important now than it ever was. And so I feel like we are like inadvertently in a place where suddenly like that service is, I like, a month ago I said, I'm done. I'm not going to pay Atrocity for his UI anymore. I don't need it. And now I'm like, Atrocity, please, for the love of God, release this thing right away, because there's too much stuff to organize and it's too complicated. Look, here's where I'm at with this. I'm a little disappointed with this, and I haven't seen it in action yet, right? Like, we haven't played the raid or like truly done like in season Mythic Plus with our UI all done to really see like what this ultimately looks like. But I feel like they did all this stuff and they didn't ever like walk it back. Like, they didn't ever like say publicly, we're going to walk some of what we did back a little bit. They just like didn't close the loopholes, and then more people found more ways to do things, and maybe they always intended it this way. I don't know, but it feels like they released this big post that was like, we do not want add-ons to give people a competitive advantage. We do not. That is the fundamental philosophical goal of everything we've done in preparation for Midnight, and that is not the case right now. Tomorrow, the pre-patch is going to come out, and add-ons will make you better at the game. Full stop. That is what's going to happen. It is not just recoloring. It is not just graphical paint or letting you organize things differently. They are fundamental things that add-ons will allow you to do in the game that the base UI cannot do, and that seems contrary to their design philosophy. And it's weird that they've said nothing about this.
Yeah, I think that one of the glaring things for me is the like nameplate recoloring stuff. Like, I know that that's just a recolor, but like that is like game-changing amounts of information at a glance. When you go into like a key and you're like, oh, okay, this color's the casters, and I know to be paying attention to those. Because like now you're going from, if you go in every time you pull the same way, yada, 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 yeah, sure, maybe you don't need that. But if you go in with a pug tank who does a different route and they're pulling things that you have no idea what they are, well, now you do. And so it's just, I don't know. That's one of the most glaring things to me. I'm happy personally that it's in the game still. Like, I take advantage of that, but that is, I think, the antithesis to what they said that they wanted, at least initially.
Well, I mean, it puts us in this weird middle ground where it's not the way we originally thought it was going to be, where you're not really going to need add-ons anymore unless you want to do some customization type stuff. But you also don't have the ease of the old system. Like we said, weak auras, for all its difficulties in both design and just using it. Really easy to get a week aura pack, really easy to share week aura packs, those things you can share in game, right? Very, very easy, very user friendly from that perspective. And so now it seems like we're just in this middle ground where we don't have that anymore, but we really don't have the other end of the spectrum either. We're just kind of in the middle. And so nobody's happy. The people that were really looking forward to, I don't have to do add-ons anymore. I mean, maybe they still won't, but there's still going to be some pressure because they are still going to help you play the game better. Those people are going to be annoyed. And then the people that were annoyed and mad about the death of weak auras and all that stuff, they're not going to be happy either. And it just feels like everyone's kind of be annoyed now. And I was like,
Yeah.
so what was it all for? You know what I mean? Like, and maybe we'll
Yeah.
see. Like, what the big thing that they've been saying, and the original reason for all of this was, we feel like we're in an arms race and we cannot design encounters the way we want to design encounters. And so what we really need to do is see what all these encounters look like when all is said and done. See, maybe even not even this patch, maybe even like into the next two patches of content, and see like what it means when they really get to stretch their legs as far as encounter design. And maybe we'll look back on Midnight and say, looking back on these 3 raids, I can really tell that weak auras were holding them back, were preventing them from doing things, and these raids feel more fun than any WoW raid I've played in a long time.
Oh.
Maybe. But
So-
right now, it's like, what was all this for?
Yeah. Well, so here's my like take on everything right now. And I don't know, maybe this is just feeding into like all of the shit posters or whatever, but currently staring down the barrel of Midnight, like the pre-patch comes out tomorrow for us, and then Midnight comes out very soon.
A month later, basically.
Yeah. So we're staring down the barrel of Midnight, and what we're looking at is we have like a 3 raid cycle. And other than that, we have player housing. Everything else is the same as it was before. And so like, I don't remember if it was you or if it was one of our other friends, but like, it does have me a little bit concerned that we're like going to go into Dragonflight 3, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
we're getting dangerously close to Final Fantasy levels of copy and paste the expansion, and that's a formula that works. Like, outside of the raids being different, it's like scary how much we're just kind of like, talents are the same. We have Apex talents now, but like those really aren't special. It's just a different way to display a talent. Like, it's just taking from your class talents or your spec talents. Like, it's not anything special. It should just be a part of the tree.
At least they gave him a new fancy graphic in this last beta build, and it finally was not that like stuck on the left side weird thing that it was before. So hooray.
Yeah. All of that to say, like, I don't think Dragonflight's bad. I don't think the War Within's bad. I'd be fine continuing a lot of what we have. I just think that at some point, and that might be within the next 2 years before we get another expansion, it's gonna feel stale.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Like, I am hype for another season. I'm hype for another raid, another set of Mythic Plus dungeons, new dungeons to learn, new bosses to master. I'm like excited for all of that stuff, but I agree with you. Like, there was an understanding here, and I think for the people that were okay with the add-on stuff, we basically came to terms with the idea that, okay, this is a massive amount of work they have to do to basically come up with all these new in-game UI features that have not ever existed in the game. And so we were like, okay, that's why this expansion feels content light. Now, let me say that with the caveat that housing is a huge undertaking, is a massive undertaking, has been wildly successful. People have loved it, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But that is not and has never been the primary drive for the game for me. I basically haven't played with it at all since it came out in early access, and that's just because like I just don't. That's not the game for me. So like, I'm taking the idea, like, housing is supposed to be the box seller for this expansion, right? It is the biggest thing you would put on the back of the box if boxes existed anymore. It is the thing that the majority of the people that can interact with this game are going to care about. But for the rest of us, yeah, Apex talents, not really anything new. This hunt system could be cool, but like Mythic Plus is essentially the same. There's been some small tweaks and changes to some affixes and stuff that maybe we'll talk about. Raid, I mean, we'll see, but it's going to be raid just like all the other raids have been. They've divided it into 3 different locations, but it's essentially 9 bosses. It's a raid. It's just what raiding in World of Warcraft is. And so yeah, like the idea that there's some new and exciting thing that every single person that plays this game is going to interact with in a way that makes it feel fresh and new, and it just isn't here. And again, the reason why we were all okay with that, or the reason why we at least said, oh, that's why, was because so much of their development time was going to be on this add-on stuff. Now that that's not necessarily going away, like the things that they built are still going to be there. Their detail, their damage meter, their unit frames, their nameplates, their cooldown, like all of this stuff is still going to be there. And I want to give them credit for it. At least like that's still stuff they had to do because they decided they had to do it. But like from my perspective, I'm going to download a bunch of add-ons that's going to replace any of that stuff day one anyway. And so we don't have that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why maybe, at least from our anecdotal perspective, the hype of this expansion feels a little muted, I would say.
Yeah. So, question for you, because I haven't actually looked into this on the beta. To my knowledge, we are stuck with Blizzard's damage meters. That is not functionality that they have opened up the API to allow us to grab yet.
I believe that is correct because that's real-time reporting in combat, which is not something that you can like manage and report on independently of it. So, I mean, I think there's probably going to be add-ons that like reskin them to make them look. There's probably I wonder if a version of Details is just going to be, we're going to take the damage meter and make it look like Details because you all are used to that and like that. I'm almost absolutely convinced that's going to happen. But yes, there is no like Details is not like here in game still.
That worries me because none of the shortcomings of the damage meter that we've talked about in the past really have been solved. Like they've solved some of the bugs where it was like erroneously counting shit that it shouldn't have been, but like it's still not great.
I mean, that's the case with basically everything we've talked about. Like that, like I still think the unit frames are not great either from a healer perspective. Like the amount, like first of all, there's no whitelist, blacklist, and that still will be the case even with add-ons. You won't be able to do that. So there's still no way of like controlling what buffs you can and can't see and saying, I want this hot to go in this corner and that hot there's still none of that. Now there are add-ons that can like control, like in very pinpoint ways, control exactly where on the frame the hots will go, which is an improvement over the base UI and probably something I'll end up getting. Like you can make it look very like cell adjacent. But that's still not really even fixed yet. So like, I mean, there is a read of this that says the reason why they haven't fixed any of these loopholes, or the reason why they haven't like done anything add-on wise in about a month, is because they recognize that their stuff is not going to be ready. That at some point in December or maybe before, they were like, we're not going to finish this UI stuff we needed to work on to the level that we're satisfied with it in time for launch. So we're just going to let every loophole and backdoor and kind of rigged fix that these add-ons are doing, we're just going to let all that go. And maybe we'll slam the door on those at a future date when our stuff is ready at a better spot. That's all speculation, right? They have not said a thing about any of this. So all we are basing this off of is the fact that they very explicitly came out with that post that says add-ons will not provide a competitive advantage. They were very clear on that, and that is not true today. So
yeah,
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, well, all of that boils down to say, when you log into the game, or when you have logged into the game, you've already seen this. A lot of the add-ons that you had previously are probably not working. Some of them might need updates. Some of them might work entirely different from what they did before. But that's kind of the world in which we live in. I would keep a very close eye on CurseForge or WoWUp or wherever, and kind of be tracking what's popular, because I think new stars are going to arise from all of this chaos,
Yeah.
and it might be shit that you want. So definitely be keeping an eye on those.
I am essentially going to um, delete my interface folder tomorrow and just start from scratch. Um, like I like the idea of even trying to log in with any of any of the add-ons that I have installed. Even if they do release a new version, it's not going to interface or connect in any of the ways you're used to. So I think probably literally the cleanest thing to do is just start over.
I hope we're allowed to have Opie.
I don't know. That is one that I haven't been able to see anything on, and I don't know. I mean, maybe the only thing I could think of with Opie is that, like, because Opie can do a lot, right? Opie technically can do, like, in combat, like you can do your potion via Opie. You can do abilities. You can, like, throw abilities on there. I would think that stuff probably won't work, but I think, like, out of combat, what I use Opie for, which is like all my consumables and also my dungeon portals, it feels to me like that part would still work. But
I
maybe
also
not.
like, it's not anything more than just an action bar add-on. So
Yeah.
I almost wonder if like everything that it can currently do will be fine.
Maybe. I mean, that's one thing that I did read, that like if you use like bartender or another action bar add-on, nothing that they did to break those, or nothing they did to change anything would break any of those, because they just, you're right, they're basically just skins of action bars in a certain amount. So yeah, maybe Opie will work fine. I hope so.
I hope so too. That's one that I haven't even thought about, that like the thought of losing that and how many more buttons I'm going to have on my screen just like makes me angry.
Although I will definitely have to have less buttons on my screen, because I did log into beta this week, set up a Holy Paladin, and that was just like, where'd all my buttons go? I feel like I like just the DPS rotation for a Holy Paladin is absolutely wild.
Not having Crusader Strike is insane.
It feels weird to not have Crusader Strike. It also feels weird that hammer, which is the hammer that is like the, when you use wings it appears hammer.
A Hammer of Wrath.
Hammer of Wrath. Okay. Yeah, Judgment turns into Hammer of Wrath. So that's not even a separate button anymore. And then
What do you do on Execute?
You don't have Consecration anymore. Consecration just, you have the when you press Judgment, a Consecration will appear under your target one, but you don't have like the basic. It's just weird. I don't want to get into it. It felt very, very weird. It was the first time I was like, oh wow. Because I mean, Druid, for all the changes, like, is still like recognizably Restoration Druid. But getting on Holy Paladin, I didn't end up running a dungeon because I got scared, but I was like, oh my gosh, it's so different. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine the playing that I am going to be doing over this next month is not so much running keys and doing stuff. It will be a lot of getting my AI, my UI shit figured out.
Yeah, make sure your hotkeys are right and like all of the yeah. Well, as far as other things that come with pre-patch, and again, it's kind of weird talking about this because it's in the future for us and in the past for everybody listening. But all of the class changes are coming in, which includes talents as well as all of the ability pruning, defensive pruning, and everything else that they did, and reworks. So like the new Frost Mage will be in the game tomorrow, which is really cool. That being said, you are missing talent points, and therefore, if you are playing beta, you might not be able to play the same way. I think primarily it's going to be talent points that go into your Apex talents, so maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it still might be. I don't know how impactful every single Apex talent is, so keep that in mind.
A lot of them very impactful. It's always weird because the game is always balanced around like you at your complete kit. Like the game is balanced around you at max level with all number of talent points. Like that's what, so like these pre-patch moments are always a little weird because yeah, you're running with not a full deck essentially. But I mean, you saw they are nerfing the raid starting tomorrow to compensate for that. They are also changing all of the tier sets. The tier sets are just going to be flat damage and healing increase percentages instead of the effects they have right now, because a lot of the effects are being baked into that the extra hero talents. There's an extra line of hero talents you get, and while you will not have enough points to get every single talent in your hero tree, there's nothing stopping you from getting the new line, right? You just take them from other places and put them there. So because all that's being baked into some talents for a lot of classes, almost all classes, yeah, it's just like a flat increase in health or in a damage and healing. So I don't know if like maybe like pushing 20s or 21s is going to suddenly become difficult, but also it will be completely unnecessary because the season is over. So I feel like if you just want to like hop into a 10 and like test your new class, you'll probably be able to do that pretty easily.
Yeah. It almost makes me wonder too if some things might get easier. Like
they might.
There might be some classes that are just stronger than anything that we have right now. So
that's true.
We'll just have to see. The other thing that I think is weird, and I don't know about, I don't know if there's been explicit communication or if anybody's checked on PTR, but are we still going to be able to earn dinars?
Interesting.
And buy those things?
Yeah, that I know for a fact crests you can still earn. I have
and
no
catalyst charges you can still
Yeah,
use.
I know. I have no idea about dinars. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, the raid is still open, and the fact that they like rebalance the raid seems to say they want you to still feel like you can do the raid still. You can still kill Demencius. You can't get AOTC, of course, or CE, but I mean, maybe dinars. I think it would make sense for dinars to still be in, but who knows?
Yeah. All of this is like pre-patch shit that I should probably remember from previous expansions, but like the pre-patch is such a fleeting time that like all of that gets wiped from my memory like the instant the expansion comes out.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that's pretty much like all of the major new stuff. There's going to be some new like quests. I can't even really say it's going to be that much. It's probably going to take you like maybe an hour to get everything done, if that.
Yeah.
And that's all going to be setting up for midnight. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot coming out tomorrow. Like, don't let me sell that short. Like, all of the class changes are coming out. All of the talent changes are coming out. All like, there's a lot coming out tomorrow. There's a lot to like be excited to like play and try things, especially if you haven't had access to beta. But there isn't. We're in this really weird state where a lot of the driving factor to play World of Warcraft for a lot of the player base is the rewards you get.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, we're in a situation where it's like you don't feel like you're getting a reward when you complete something because it's just going to go away in a month. It's going to be replaced by a green from like the 10th quest you do in midnight. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of drive to play the game right now. So it might still continue to be as dead as it currently is.
I mean,
that's just a heads up.
I don't think there's like a big, huge like pre-patch event. There is a pre-patch event. There have been pre-patch events for every expansion. The last couple of years they've felt very like phoned in and not like, it's just like you kind of, it's just
go
like
to this place, fill a bar.
Yeah, exactly. It's a world event where you go to a place, you fill up a bar, and you get some currency that gets you some catch-up gear, essentially, and that's pretty much it. And like, sure, whatever. Like, I don't care. But I feel like you're right that as the game has trended more towards the seasonal model, which it is and continues to do, the idea of a pre-patch period becomes kind of weirder and weirder and less impactful. Because yeah, I mean, like, yes, all the systems and class balances and everything are in tomorrow, but you don't really have a way to like really challenge yourself with those in a way that feels rewarding. So
yeah, another question I have that I haven't actually done any research into, like, are we still going to be able to get resilient keys? Because ultimately the season's over. So I would assume no.
Well, I mean, if keys function, which they will, why would resilient keys not function?
That's fair. I just it's a lot of weird shit. It's a lot of weird shit that honestly, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter.
I mean, the question I
But
would have for you is like, why are you trying to get a resilient key? To what end?
I don't know. I've just needed a 13 priory on my warrior for I don't know how long. I have 14s timed on other dungeons and a 15, but I don't have a 13 prior.
Oh no, you won't get resilient keys for a season that's over. Oh no.
but yeah, I don't know. There's not really much else to say about the pre-patch. I'm not going to keep droning on about this. There is something I wanted to talk to you about, and full disclosure for everybody who's listened this long, this might be a shorter episode, because ultimately, like, we've been gone for a month. We planned to come back, a couple weeks ago, but there's not been much to talk about. Like,
And candidly, we haven't been playing World of Warcraft.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we did a little bit this past couple weeks, but yeah.
So it just felt disingenuous to come back and just reiterate the same thing that we had the last 2 episodes. Like, I mean, even now, like, we're saying more or less some of the same shit that we did before. It's just now add-ons are a little different. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So either way, I did have a question for you, and it's something that I really think that we need to take a look at and talk about. So you've already mentioned, like, the hype for Midnight seems muted.
Mhm.
I want to push deeper into that, and I want to get your opinion and your feelings on when Midnight comes out. So normally expansion launches are like this thing where it's like big thing in the game. People take time off work for it. People play for 24 plus out. Like, it's a crazy thing that people do some crazy shit for. And I feel like the last couple expansions, like, people have done that and have been disappointed. And I feel like it's going to be more or less the same thing again. I think that there's a lot of factors that go into this. I think we need to talk about early access. I
Mhm.
think we need to talk about the fact that we're not going to be able to actually do the season for like a month until like after the fucking expansions released.
3 weeks, I think, maybe a
Yeah.
month. Yeah.
And I think that there's more going into it. Like, there's not a ton of new shit, so there's not really an incentive to go
Yeah.
play with new systems like there was with I don't know, something like in Shadowlands when you had all of the like anima powers and you could go and see what all that, like, that's not a thing. So I feel like there's more to it. I think there's a lot of muted hype currently because there's people who are pissed off still about the add-on stuff, and currently the game is in its lull period. Like, this happens because it's a seasonal game.
Yeah.
But I think that there's more to that. Like, I think the people who come back and who are going to be excited to play Midnight, like, are they going to peter out before the actual season starts? Because that's an insanely long time between the release of the expansion, which is supposed to be the big thing that people are always super excited for, and then the release of the actual content.
Yeah. What I will say, so I think a caveat here is hype is anecdotal, and like,
True.
we are not first the primary reason you and I are feeling this lack of hype is because you and I have a lack of hype. The secondary reason is because most of the people that we play this game with have a muted level of hype. And then maybe even branching further out from there, also like the way we've kind of observed content creators, and then just kind of like feeling out the general zeitgeist of how people are thinking about this game. But that's like, in my mind, like the least accurate of what we have to say. But I think we can safely say that we are feeling a little bit of the missing hype. And I don't think we are the only ones that feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you're right. It's early access is a weird part of it. The idea that like we've segmented the player base in a weird way of between the pores and the not and the not pores, but also we've, further, because of early access and because of those of us who do partake in early access, we have extended the amount of time before the real game starts. So there is this very much like slow opening of doors, like you're being led down a tunnel of like, okay, this is the first part, it's the story of the expansion and the questing and the leveling. You'll get that done really quick, and then here this door opens and now you can do the M0s and heroics, and then finally here's now you can do mythic plus, and then finally here at the last one you can do mythic raid, and it just feels like it's time gated in those ways. I think the primary thing though, because I think a lot of times hype is not a literal response to actual physical things like early access. I think hype is just a feeling, and I think the biggest problem here is the Dragonflight 3.0 thing, is the same thing that is plaguing Final Fantasy 14 right now, which is when you stick to a formula, even if it's a working formula, for this long, even the winning formula starts to feel a little stale. It's like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know when it's going to happen. I know even the general feel of it. Yes, the bosses will be different and new and exciting, and that there's a certain amount of excitement of that. Yes, the dungeons will be new and exciting, and yes, there's a certain amount of excitement in that. But like, I can send my brain forward to the day of early access launch, and will know exactly what that feels like. Exactly. Like, it's questing, it's new story, it's new questing, but it's World of Warcraft questing, right? Like, to a certain extent, we know what that is. And I can send my brain another week forward after that and be like, okay, we're going to be in the dungeons, and like, that's going to be new and exciting. But it's World of Warcraft dungeons, right? We know that. And then a week forward to that, Mythic Plus is out. We're doing it. But it's Mythic Plus. We know what Mythic Plus is. We were just doing dungeons a couple days ago. Like, they're new dungeons, they're new bosses, and that's exciting in its own right. But there's nothing surprising. There's nothing like, oh wow, I've never experienced something like that before. I did like even, I mean, and housing is certainly good and cool, but like, even the dragon riding in Dragonflight was this thing where we were like, oh wow, like this is fun in a way that I was not expecting it to be fun. It's fresh and new in a way I was not expecting it to be fresh and new. And outside of housing, which is not going to have midnight hype because of the early access portion of it, there's nothing that's going to be delightfully surprising to any of us when we sit down and play this game when it comes out. And that is a problem. That is a problem.
I think the thing that like upsets me the most is like thinking back at previous expansion launches, and like, yeah, I was younger at those, right? And I didn't have a child, but like thinking back, I would like stay up until the wee hours of the morning playing the expansion launch, talking with my friends, having a good time. And then like, yeah, sure, raids and everything still wouldn't be out, but like I didn't feel like there was nothing to do. And I feel like since like, I don't know, Shadowlands, maybe Dragonflight. If we're being generous, I'll say Dragonflight. It feels like expansion launches just aren't special anymore. Like, the special time is the season start.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost wonder, like, is the season start too far from the expansion launch to maintain the people who do come back because they are excited that a new expansion for World of Warcraft is releasing?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of that is just that, like, World of Warcraft questing is 21 years old. And, like, they have made leaps and bounds in the questing system. I'm not saying, like, quests today are not exactly like quests were in 2004, but they're not right. Like it's the same general system. Like, you know, like, you're going to go to the hub, you're going to get all the quests, you're going to go do the things, you're going to be killing things, you're going to be looting things, you're going to be doing little, like, it's a stale system. Like, it just is. And it's not a bad system. It's not. It's worked and it's been very successful, but it hasn't fundamentally changed ever. And maybe that's just because it can't fundamentally change. Like, I mean, even sitting here, like, racking my head of like, how would we fundamentally change questing? That would be a basically brand new game. So it's just like, I don't know. Like, I think you and I are still going to have fun the Friday night that early access comes out. We are still going to stay up late. We are still going to be on Discord chatting and going through the motions of the quests. Maybe we won't stay up quite as late as we used to because we're a little older and we have a little more responsibilities now. But and that has nothing to do with the game. But the hype for that feeling and that moment is just like, I just know what that's going to feel like. I just know it. I can see it in my head. And so I'm just not going to get excited about it. It's just like, I mean, part of this is just growing older. Like, you got way more excited about Christmas morning when you were a little kid than you do at 40. I can tell you that now. Although having children completely reinvigorates Christmas because
Oh
like
yeah.
you live through them and it's the most amazing thing in the world and I love it. But that's besides the point. It's just, I've kind of seen it before. This is what is this, the 12th World of Warcraft expansion? The 11th?
Yeah. I'd have to count. I don't remember, but a lot.
We've just done this so many times before. And so like hype is gonna go down a little bit. And what it would take to reinvigorate it is really big fundamental changes in how they do expansions. And they're not doing that. So will they ever do that? I don't know. But they're not doing it for this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much to really like put into this because on one hand, this really doesn't impact me. It's just a conversation that I was having with one of our guild members that made me think about it. But like, I do wonder, I really do wonder, the people who come back for new expansions, do they stick around? Because like history says no, like I really don't think they do. I feel like if you're a retail player who plays into the middle of the season, you're going to play into the middle of the season again. Mm-hmm. And if you're not playing World of Warcraft right now, unless you have a reason to, like friends or like something like that, I don't see how you stick around in this game anymore. Like I really don't see how a new player comes into a brand new expansion with no like guild or no friends or like comes into it completely pure and wants to set up their own, like find a guild on their own and do all this stuff. Like, I don't see how that person comes in, levels, gets all the way to max level, and then still has to wait 2 weeks to continue to like do any of the things that they've been told that they can do at max level by this new guild that they've joined, and then sticks around. Like, I just feel like there's too much of a lull with how quick we level now and how much time is in between a season beginning. I feel like there's a little bit of a disjoint there.
Yeah, I mean, the only surprising thing to me about the War Within was how quick we leveled. Like, you talk about what like new expansion surprises. I was incredibly surprised by how quick we leveled. I remember going into that weekend and being like, all right, my goal for this weekend is to just get my character to max level before early access ends. And then we did that like
with 4
Saturday. And then it was like, oh, that was quick. Okay. And then like, you did dungeon running for your second character, and then you're like, oh wait, that took like 3 hours. Okay, I guess I'll just do them all, and that's what we ended up doing. And so yeah, I mean, I wonder if they've adjusted that, and they went too far one direction, and I didn't end up leveling a character all the way to max in beta. I got to like the second or third zone, and I kind of lost interest and said, oh, I'll save it for live. So I don't actually have a clear indicator on how long it takes. It's not going to take that long though. Yeah, I mean, we're all going to be in the same situation we were in. Like, you can probably go back and listen to that episode this time at that expansion cycle or right after, where we kind of finished everything we were doing and we're like, is this not enough? Is this too long of a wait period for the season to start? And at the time we were like, yes, like this game just came out. All I want to do is play it. And yet there is nothing to do. Yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting. I feel like they're doing like one step forward and no additional steps forward, like when it comes to this, because like in one sense, like the add-on argument was it'll be easier for new players to get into. That's no longer the case because add-ons are more or less probably still going to be as powerful as they currently are. And therefore, you are still going to want to install them. And that's going to be cumbersome for somebody who has never done that before and everything like that. Doubly, they haven't made any of the content really come out any earlier for somebody who starts at the beginning of an expansion. And so I think that's pushing people away. That being said, they have done a little bit, and I think we need to talk about this too. That they did make a change for early game Mythic Plus to essentially make tanking, at least routing for tanks, a little less um, burdensome. I don't
Correct.
really know. Yeah, less scary.
Yeah.
It essentially gives you like a pre-planned route through the dungeon. It marks these packs, and if you kill every pack that is marked, then you will have 100% count. I think you get a buff too if you kill them. And so like that is good. That does mean it's pushed other affixes one key level later, which ultimately doesn't really matter because if you are doing like a 10 or an 11 and whatever, like none of this matters to you anyways. I think it's for the key levels 2 through 4, if I remember correctly, that this new affix is applied.
Correct. Yep. 2 through, well, it says 2 to 5. And I don't know if that means it will show up in 5 or it will go away when you get to 5. Because it pushed the Zalatas bargain affix to appear in 5s when it's currently appearing in 4s. So that makes me believe the new one goes away at 5s, but they worded it weird, so I don't know.
Yeah. So anyways, they're doing like, I feel like they're doing things to try and encourage maybe it's not new players. Maybe it's existing players who have never interfaced with this content before because they were too worried about it.
I think that's, I mean, they're trying to push people to tank.
Yeah.
I think this just changed it specifically as like, we're trying to make tanking less scary.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel very weird. We've talked about this in the past where it's like Blizzard and World of Warcraft has a problem with bringing in new players, like being a new player, brand new player, not somebody returning, not somebody who's played World of Warcraft before. Brand new player coming to World of Warcraft in 2026 is a monumental task. And to be able to maintain the focus and drive to continue through, level all the way, and then keep playing, I think is like coming up on nigh impossible, if I'm being completely honest. And like they've been doing things like adding in the way to level through the like previous stories and experience all of that and everything. But I just don't feel like they're really hitting at what the core issues are, if that makes sense. Like I don't think the leveling is what they need to be addressing. I think what they need to be addressing is like, how do we keep people engaged?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe part of this is let's just say it. The game's fucking 21 years old. Like maybe part of this is just the game is old. And like for those of us that have played it for a long time, we've seen it all. And the idea of getting a new person into like to walk up to their computer tomorrow and be like, what game do I want to start playing today? Is it a brand new shiny game or is it a 21-year-old game? That's like people aren't going to want to do that. And so like, I mean, let's be honest here. This game is not going to last forever. It is not. And maybe what we are experiencing is like the first signs of the death throes of World of Warcraft. I don't want to be overly dramatic. Like I don't like the game is not going to vanish off the face of the earth in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years. Like I don't think that's going to happen. But like there is eventually going to be a time when this game doesn't exist anymore, right? It's not going to go on forever. And so what is that correct amount of time? I don't know. I think one thing that Blizzard has succeeded at over time is mixing things up and making things feel fresh and new in a way that has retained people and brought people in simultaneously. Maybe there's ultimately a limit to that. And maybe we're starting to bump up against that. Maybe the lack of hype is the first sign of we're bumping up against the maximum things that this game can do. Or maybe they've just kind of rested on their laurels a bit, and next expansion or expansion after that, they get a kick in the ass and they're like, okay, we really got to shake shit up. I mean, it's funny because this is literally what is happening with Final Fantasy 14 like right now. And I know that game's not quite as old as World of Warcraft, but they also, I think, fell into the stagnation. We do everything the same in every expansion like before WoW did. and like right now, like the things that are being said about the upcoming Final Fantasy 14 expansion, which is still probably over a year away, maybe less than that, I don't know, is it's going to be like a new Realm Reborn. Like we're going to hit the reset button on this. Like we're going to spend a lot of time. We're going to really shake things up. It's going to be surprising and unexpected and changed in a way that we think everyone's going to really appreciate. Maybe that's the type of thing that is going to or needs to happen with World of Warcraft. I don't know.
Yeah. I would be interested to see what we're looking at in The Last Titan. Like, obviously, that's going to be 2 years away from now, but they're already working on development for that. And so I would like to know, like, what's rating going to look like? What's Mythic Plus going to look like?
Yeah.
Is there a new endgame pillar? Like, I would like to know those things. Obviously, we're never going to know that until probably like a BlizzCon in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, we'll get hints of things at that time. So yeah, it's just, I hope that we don't continue on. I hope that we don't get a Dragonflight 4. I am very scared at what happens to the game and the player base if we continue to do things the same way every single expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when we're going to bleed players. That's when people are going to find a different MMO to play. That, like, the mass exodus to Final Fantasy for a fresh new thing, if you're just a World of Warcraft player, that happened during Shadowlands, I think we could be seeing something like that again, because I mean, we're also staring down the barrel of other MMOs that are coming out. Like Ashes of Creation is still making strides. There's fucking,
that's a way of putting it.
There's Final Fantasy, who's promising that they're going to shake up a bunch of things. Like,
yeah,
they are staring down the barrel of competitors who could potentially be more of an issue to Blizzard than Blizzard is used to competitors being.
I think they have won a lot of goodwill with this housing stuff amongst the general populace. Like I
That's
said,
true.
like I think a lot, like there was a lot of hype when housing came, and just to say it, the amount of things people have done with housing like continues to blow me away. I look at some stuff and I'm like, how did you do that? I have and it's amazing. So truly like uncomplicatedly a win for Blizzard, this housing system. Just
housing's amazing.
Incredible work. I think it is interesting. One of the things we talked about when housing first came out was like, is this going to like, how is this going to tie into everything else? It's not like I want housing to tie into like end game content, but also how are you going to like keep people engaged in housing, right?
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to work? Like once the season starts, is like the housing system going to be abandoned until the season lulls? Like, are you even going to hang out in your neighborhood, or are you going to hang out in Dornogal or Silver Moon or whatever it is in Last Titan? I don't know. I mean, that remains to be seen.
If you're Alliance, you'll hang out in your neighborhood because you get like a closet's worth of space in Silver Moon. So.
It's not that bad. I flew around. It's not that bad. The Horde area is actually smaller than the overall area. At first, they made it seem like the Horde got most of the city and the Alliance was pushed to the corner. That's not how it works. It's plenty big enough. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's a weird time. It's a weird time for this game. It's also for me. I just to say this, I think we are officially on the longest amount of consecutive time I have played this game without quitting. I played, to refresh people, I played like when Classic first came out, or when just Vanilla WoW first came out. I quit in the middle of that, came back during the Burning Crusade, played through some of Wrath, quit, came back for Cataclysm. Like my standard operating procedure with this game was to quit it for 6 months to a year, every year or so. Every like year of playing, I would quit. And I basically haven't done that. Like since I came back in season 3 of Shadowlands, it's technically season 2, almost season 3. I've basically been playing the game, not nonstop. Obviously there've been ebbs and flows, but I've been subscribed the entire time. And I've been playing. I played every season. I've gotten AOTC every season. I've gotten whatever max achievements are available in Mythic Plus every season. Like, that's just what I've done. So maybe what I am feeling has nothing to do with World of Warcraft and just has to do with the fact that I've been playing this game for several years now, without stopping, essentially. And I'm just feeling not burnt out, but just like, none of this feels really new to me. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to talk about this a little bit more as we actually step foot into Midnight.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more or less. I'm predicting the future here, Scott, and I think you already did this, but I am predicting the first 3 weeks of Midnight, our episodes are going to be very similar to the first 3 weeks of The War Within. Very similar.
And the funny thing about that is, like, we were very positive on the questing experience in The War Within, right? We thought the zones were great, but the questing was good. And I have no expectations that we will feel any differently in Midnight. I think we will be like, oh, these zones are cool. These quests were cool. But
yeah, exactly. And so moving in to like the next couple weeks, we need to do like our retrospectives and stuff like that on The War Within. But like, I just feel like until the season begins and we get to go into the dungeons and we get to go into the raids and like we actually get to play with the classes in their intended way instead of just bulldozing through content, we're not really going to have a ton of things that don't sound very similar to the beginning of The War Within. And I think that for me is just another nail in the everything feels like Dragonflight 3 coffin. And so I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit saddened by that as well. It just is what it is. Like there's not really anything else that we can do. Because like if I'm going out there and I'm saying like I don't want the next expansion to be like Dragonflight or to be like The War Within, I'd be lying. Like Dragonflight and The War Within, in my experience and in my opinion, were actually pretty successful and pretty good expansions. Like I want the next one to be good and successful. But I would like there to be something that shook it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even the most delicious meal you've ever had gets old when you've eaten it 5 years in a row, right? I mean, this is how it works. So it's what have you done for me lately? It's what's new and fresh and exciting. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I will tell you that the one thing that got me the most hyped for this new expansion has nothing to do with anything the developers have done whatsoever. The thing that got me the most hyped for this new expansion is getting back together with our group and going in and clearing the raid. We did that over the last week just for fun, really. And I hadn't gotten AOTC, so people were helping me out because I had never killed Dimensius for lots of reasons that maybe we'll get into on our The War Within recap. But we just got everyone together and we hung out for a night and just killed stuff. And I was like, wow, this is fun. This is really fun. I missed this. And now I am excited to do this again at midnight. And that has nothing to do with anything. And that just once again shows you that the best part of this game is and always will be the people that you play it with.
The friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
And you know, Scott, maybe we'll be singing a different tune when the season starts in midnight because maybe we'll have a tank for our Mythic Plus dungeons.
No, that's not going to happen. What are you talking about?
But I don't have a ton else to talk about. I feel like we rambled a lot today, and so sorry for everybody listening. But that being said, I am happy to be back. I'm happy to be posting again. And so be looking forward to the recaps that are coming up here in the next couple weeks because there's going to be, I assume, a decent amount that we want to talk about on those. I do my best to not go into, I should say, I have intended to do my best to not go into like piecemeal part of every expansion. But I feel like every time we do one of those retros, we end up like doing that. So hopefully we can avoid that a little bit here in this one.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'm going to do as soon as we stop recording this is I'm going to finish watching The Race to World Last, which is one of the most fun things that exists in this game, is watching the last few guilds that have not quite got CE yet really try on the final day. It's always so exciting because unlike the Race to World First, these are not professional players of this game. These are just human beings that have jobs and families, but that also really like playing this game at the highest level and trying to get there before it's done. So if folks, I mean, it's going to be too late by the time everyone hears this, but if you've never watched the Race to World Last stuff, it's some of the best content in this game. It's so fun. So
Just
for
pull up
next
Max's
season,
stream from a couple days ago.
yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. It really is.
But yeah, definitely pay attention to that too in next season. I think that's what you were about to say, Scott.
Yeah.
Or cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah. The only sad thing about the ones that occur like in the middle of expansions is Max's can't devote as much time to them because of Race to World First prep gets in the way. The last one at the end of the expansion is the one he can do most because they're not really doing much yet. Because the next raid is still months away. So yeah, I mean it's fun either way though. Even if you're not following along with Max from Liquid, there's still plenty of. I don't know if it's Raider.io, but there's a site that like will just host all the guilds very close to killing Demencius on the final night, and you can just like pick and choose and watch those. It's just people, like it is just people, just normal people playing the game. And how often do you get to see that?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, you got anything else you want to go over, Scott?
No, we can save everything else we have for filling content in future episodes. So I'll just save it. But not hyped, but hyped is what I'll land on here.
Yeah. Excited for all of the new people that we have in our guild. Excited to do things with friends again.
Yeah.
Skeptical of what the next expansion is going to be currently.
Yeah. Yep.
I would say is the best feeling I have.
That is fair.
But anyways, the question I have for you guys this week is are you going to be able to continue using your current UI pack, or are you going to need to get a new one, or are you somebody who just kind of wings it anyways? But that's my question for you guys this week. We'll see how it goes, but as always, you can contact us over at yellingintothevoidwow@gmail.com. YouTube is at Yelling Into the Void Wow, and Twitter and Blue Sky are both at Into the Void Wow.
And make sure if you haven't already subscribed to this podcast that you do so right now. We are on Apple, Spotify, iHeart Podcasts, Podcasts Are Us. I don't know if that's one, but I'm just assuming it is. We're basically anywhere you can find podcasts, that's where you can find us.
And then lastly, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting on the YouTube video, the Spotify video, maybe now, since they allow us to upload them through the actual hosters sometimes.
I don't know if that's
see how that
fully
goes
in yet, but it's coming. There's an API coming.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So there might be videos more frequently to Spotify because I won't be able to forget like I have been the last few weeks. So paying attention to that too. But yeah, all of that helps us get more exposure and introduces us to new people, allows us to continue doing what we are doing here. But guys, until next week, Scott and I will just be over here yelling into the void.